Mushy mushy.
What? Sure. Coffee time. Hello.
Wow.
Sorry, I was on push to talk.
Wow.
But I'm here now.
Oh my god.
How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Had a very chill day with Clover. Did some training and then, yeah, came home and just played games and took a nap. Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
How are you?
I've had a long day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This morning, Philip knocked over a mirror, and I suppose in some respect it was definitely our fault because it wasn't secured, but it fell over and onto our bed and shattered this 8-foot tall mirror.
Oh my god, 8 feet tall!
Yeah, I think it was huge. So we had to de-glass the house.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We had to de-glass the house, and I still found a piece of glass to step on.
That's crazy. Oh no.
Yeah. Seen better days.
Mm.
Went to Costco, and it took forever because there were so many people there.
Mm.
Yeah. Other than that, it's been pretty chill. Mostly just recovering from that. I like went through that ordeal, and then I don't remember what I think I turned out both of Philip's litter boxes and put some new litter in. And then I went to Costco and I came back after having lunch, and then I took a nap.
Yeah.
And then I had dinner, so now I'm here. Now I am here. So it has been a long day. But also it feels like not a lot has happened today. It's weird. Time is weird. It doesn't feel real. Hello, Mads.
Madzu? Are we ready to explore the rest of London? After our case ended rather unexpectedly.
We have gone through 3 cases so far, and like no one has been brought to justice. No one!
Oh, what are we here for?
to walk into a murder. Yeah, right?
Through the fire and flames of murder.
Oh, thank you.
I have received an affogato.
Oh,
Delicious.
Nyanikori.
It's ice cream with an espresso shot poured over it. Wow. Shall we get boogieing?
Woogie, woogie, woogie.
Woogie, woogie, woogie. Yes, attorney. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
Clouded Kokoro!
Oh god, we're already on case 4.
No.
I mean, the case structure's been a little weird, to be fair.
Yeah.
The Adventure of the Clouded
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening.
Damn.
To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Literally watch Renu right now. 19th February, 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office.
Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo?
No, not at all.
It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day even in the middle of the night.
But what about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't gonna waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other.
That's why he didn't sleep. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally.
Maybe you shouldn't have done that. Maybe you should have gone to sleep.
Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare.
Oh no. Oops. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive, and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking.
Oh my god. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year.
Oh my god, where you could get this money?
I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with a bill.
Ugh, I really am sorry. Bro, our life savings went to a hotel room.
Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though.
I guess they're doing much better than Phoenix, though. He always has no money.
Phoenix inexplicably lives in a place where he doesn't seem to have to pay rent.
If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less.
Okay, they get a stipend.
Mm.
London is a scary place. Is expensive. Good morning to you at this early hour.
Hempst.
Oh, yes, well.
Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday.
Susata-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very, eye-opening. Yeah, thank you.
And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart.
I mean, it kind of seemed like he would get off with or without us, so...
Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end.
I mean, that's why he said it would be an easy case, right?
Oh yeah, no opening and shut case. I guess so. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. I think that's more qualification than Phoenix Wright ever officially had. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? I haven't slept in 48 hours. Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment.
Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Everyone in the witness stand just like, bro, is he evil laughing right now? Is he villain laughing right now in the middle of the courtroom? I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent.
Mr. Naruhodo.
It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you didn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry?
What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
Oh!
Bro, everyone's getting murked. Holy shit.
No!
What? Mr. McGilded is dead?
The birds fly.
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Fuck, dude. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Strongheart drank his blood. Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGill. That's
Dang!
awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention.
And how could that have happened?
Bro, if that bailiff gets fired, that's a light sentence. That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus.
Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then, who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. McGilded.
So,
I think he's gonna hurt us.
right? He's so nice. He's so imposing. How did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow!
Looks at Susato for a translation.
Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old.
Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words.
Uh-huh.
Brother, you're the lawyer here.
And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
Oh my gosh, she just read your mind.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. Wow.
We came pretty close.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple.
Yeah, Kazuma would burn this place down. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is, you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree?
I don't know about that. Like, the man cheated.
Well, I don't know about that.
That man planted evidence.
Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. is going on?
You literally told the court your client was an innocent.
What was he gonna say before? Yeah, literally. They had to kill Kazuma. He was too powerful.
Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned?
Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? I get the impression that everything you think is just plastered on your face for everyone
Right.
to freely read.
Yep.
That is to say, no one has died, as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly.
Investigation.
23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So the trial's tomorrow then. Someone's definitely gonna die in this case. Wow, finally a non-murder trial.
Is everything all right?
Do you remember what happened the last time we had a non-murder trial?
No.
It was the Mask the Mask case.
You're right.
Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all.
Did no one really die during that case?
Well, no one died to start with. Because you were, you were defending, Ron as like a theft victim.
Right, but didn't
Or a guy.
the guy die later?
Yeah, no, a guy died later is the thing. So like it
Okay.
started as a different kind of case,
Right,
and
right,
then
right,
it turns
right.
into a murder trial. Yeah,
Then it becomes a murder trial, right?
right. So like because you accused Mr. Nose, Mr. Zvari for being Mask the Mask.
Yeah, right.
He is not on the hook for the murder.
Correct.
which-
Right.
yeah.
Okay. It's coming back
And
to
that
me.
was
Yeah.
that was the premise.
Right.
So they gave you a non-murder trial, but only so that they could make the murder trial harder.
I think that's funny. That's pretty brilliant, actually.
Yesterday's trial was... It's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo.
I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right. Ugh, here we go again. Ryunosuke wheezing in the club. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. Do all guilty verdicts result in the death penalty regardless of the crime? I think no, but we only ever see the murder cases, right?
Yeah.
And he said that no one has died yet, so it's definitely more complicated than just it's not a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday you remarked upon something? That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asugi. Am I to understand that you are a revolutionary? I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh, well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's, another thing.
Oh!
Another thing? Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me.
There's something very important that I have to do.
Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Azuki never once mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand.
Hello?
I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there?
All right.
So, I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell.
There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean?
I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we better talk to the detective, don't you think?
Yes, you're right.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. My man's got some chippies in his hand.
We love that.
Oh my god. Could we trouble you? Do you want this one?
What do you think?
Ah! Lovely weather, isn't it?
What the weather got to do with anything?
Ugh.
Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eating out of your hand, you know? You gotta have some chips.
You can't eat them like that, it's not allowed. Oh, but Chisato-san told me it was foolproof. Oh!
I'm a busy man! A very busy man!
Oh my god, look at him go!
You should have presented him with some chips.
Holy shit! Look at his endless chip basket!
He just keeps shaking it out and producing
Oh,
more.
oh my god!
He hits the fish. He puts out the fish in the middle.
Bro! Bro, he just fucking renews it. He reloads it like a
Yes.
pistol. Those poor fish. Hey, I too. Welcome back.
Hi,
Welcome back to the Women Respecting Club. Oh,
We
oh
don't
my
respect
god.
fried fish here, though.
Dude, this man is gonna eat the entire, like, ocean.
There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to.
How are you talking with your mouth full of fish? Oh, I'm ever so sorry.
Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. You hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters.
You hear that ripping sound? That's me ripping through the entire ocean. Oh my god. Oh, there's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Yunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Eh?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, it's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
Look at her stern face. Isn't it? It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine.
Oh my god. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off?
She has a presence, dude. Don't question her.
Every version of Gregson is just like this as far as you know.
So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case.
Her charisma skills max. I think she gives that disappointed glare, and people are just like, I'm sorry. He just hates us. I think everyone hates us.
The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Cosmo did not hate us, you're right.
Kazuma liked us. Kazuma was the only one that liked us.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her?
Inspector, are you perhaps...
Can't wait for the Larry analog to show up. Oh god.
The Inspector Gregson?
You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato, but he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact.
Very well.
Yes, he features prominently in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Let's go.
Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rants Magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Is he the Lestrade?
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all of the Scotland Yarders. Those were his words.
That's his highest praise?
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors?
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs.
Poor Inspector Gregson. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people.
So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before?
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
That sounds about right. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Susata takedown, would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Would you like one?
Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. If you don't move, she can't see you.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit.
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question?
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baron von Zeeks.
Ah, no!
Sounds like you heard of him then.
Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Von Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
Refill my chalice!
Yep. Yeah, we literally just beat him yesterday.
Yeah.
Lord Barak von Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
Oh my god.
When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Except for one.
Except one! But then the guy died. Which is
This-
terrible.
The Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector,
Oh, here we go. Bragging rights.
that in yesterday's trial against Lord Von Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh, well, I think, that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead.
Oh.
Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you'd save the defendant, can you?
Is my man fucking cursed? What? What are you saying?
Look, if Von Ziggs could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic.
What the fuck? He's an actual vampire!
I mean, I can understand why he thinks that the man works black magic. So is Gregson saying Zeeks killed him? I think he's definitely implying something.
Bro.
I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that?
Nom, 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 nom.
Right. Well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips.
Jesus Christ, my guy.
So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as. Shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. So, there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too.
But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny.
So,
If I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm gonna make some inquiries. Will you help?
did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes. Let's go.
Oh, she's so cute.
Genki.
Oh,
19th February, local prison, cell 9. So, these are British prison cells. Jesus Christ.
Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon.
Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls.
Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse.
Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop by in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Call me by a number. It's utterly unbelievably unjustably unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Show me a portrait of this man. I need to know.
Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here?
I have no idea. It's Ragnus Regilded. I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese.
oh,
Bro, are we defending Natsume Soseki? Excuse me. Shh, quiet. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right. So, could I ask you who exactly... There you are. You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost?
We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you... Japanese, by any chance?
oh.
This is beyond my wildest dreams! Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damn dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? What compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nippon! A first-class lawyer? Oh,
Yes.
dear. I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here.
Not at all.
Nope.
We came straight from Japan, and here we are for you.
I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes, I can, I will. Chant, stay sullen and silent.
I wonder what he says in Japanese. You know?
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yes, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Alright, thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
I just became a lawyer this morning,
Yep,
and I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba.
I've been a lawyer for 2 hours. I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notoriously named Natsume! Soseki Natsume. Wagarai wa neko de aru.
Here we go.
Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name. If you don't know, Natsume Soseki is one of the most famous Japanese authors in the Japanese canon. And he was also well known for being, like the game is implying to us that he's like a British translation. So he did like some translation stuff too. Natsume Soseki is notably the person who translated the concept of "I love you" as "the moon is beautiful tonight." Yeah.
So usually, I guess they would have changed his name for, you know, like Sherlock Holmes, right? They changed it to they changed it from Sherlock Holmes, but then for him, did they just switch his first and last name order?
I guess so.
Because we introduced ourselves first and last name, which
Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yeah, right.
And then Soseki Natsume. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Natsume. Sherlock was only changed for copyright reasons. That's true. While that's true, Natsume Soseki is a real guy.
Yeah,
Like he's a real man.
it's Sherlock in Japanese.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. Nom de plume? You mean an alias?
Real to you.
That's right, Naruhodo-san.
No! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that. And haiku? Wow, that really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study in English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and it's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No. I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for years, of course. Oh. But just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it? No!
What do you mean?
Sherlock is based on a true story that England is a real place where crimes happen. It's true. The concept of crime was invented in England. If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. Wow. This is me. This line is just me in a nutshell. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi.
You must be a man of great standing.
Oh, yes. So I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san?
I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder?
Oh, no. No, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. No wonder he uses alliteration. He was forced to study English. Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Oh dear. It seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So, Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It's vital that we find out more about the case.
Such a weird dude.
He's getting his exercise just from talking to us, you know?
I'm getting exercise just by voicing him. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, just as I went to overtake her. He suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet.
How terrible.
My man has seen some shit. I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps? I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. It's just a side effect of the English language. English language, not even once.
Hi, Magpie. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair-headed English? And a young woman at that. I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened. Who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Ah, great.
So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else in the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Suseta-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then, he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did! But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit? Ah, you... What did you just say? Oh, nothing! I didn't say anything! Oh, Jesus Christ! Perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me.
All right, it's now canon that Ryunosuke just says everything out loud. The blue text is just what he thinks he's saying in his head.
Yeah. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
Sorry?
He didn't touch the victim, and there's nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh, yeah, she's right. It was him, that accursed great detective. He led the police to me.
Oh no!
The bad luck. Accursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live.
Oh no!
His haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Brash, big-headed, busybody, begone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Hairlock Sholmes! I knew it!
Mr. Sholmes?
Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. It's the police, put the weapon down! Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon! Disgusting dietary discrimination, devils!
Mr. Lock our German friend.
Yep. You, clearly had a trying morning yesterday. God, I had a trying morning today. And there he was in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Hairlock Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London.
How many guilty men did this man put away? I mean, innocent men did this man put away.
Right.
Yes, the great detective is really very well known.
And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. Oh, he thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman! Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man! I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time.
Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable.
I'm glad you guys weren't in bed when the mirror fell.
Oh, we were.
You were? Oh no! You didn't tell me that.
Literally, I was lying in bed and just this fucking massive noise happens, and like, we just look over and the mirror is just at the foot of our bed, like hanging.
Oh my god,
It's
I would have
awful.
screamed.
Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in.
Of course you were. That's only natural.
Oh yeah, I told this story to Renu while nobody else was here, but this morning my cat knocked over an 8-foot tall mirror and it shattered on the foot of our bed. And then I got up, I looked over at it, and then I scooped up Philip and I chucked him out of the room. And then we started cleaning up the glass.
You're such nice cat parents where it's immediately like, oh no, is Philip okay? And then you realize that he's the cause and you're like, Philip.
Jesus Christ. I was terrified and trembling. They kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign film flammery. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point, good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine.
Huh?
The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here.
Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising.
Mohammed Abdul, yes, I am! I'm fine? He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
Ooh, Esquire.
Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, all right. Yes, they've really got me. This country is poisoning my mind. I'm beginning to speak English. Ugh. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you?
That's why we're here.
Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour. A student? I have defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means.
Why are you saying this to him?
Oh, Naruhodo-san.
Look at this poor man.
No one is gonna defend this man except you.
I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm the sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband! That's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire! It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh, who do you mean?
The lawyers, or the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me.
Goodness, why do you say that?
What do you mean, why?
The same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Sasaki-san. Racism! And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say, the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful! They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets! I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history! But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me! So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me, in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Sasaki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being. What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for.
Yep. "19th February, Briar Road. So, this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know.
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close. To a real Bobby's helmet!
What? The helmet?
Of course. I have to try one on one day.
Well, I hope your Hattie dream comes true.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
This isn't on the tourist trail, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been to the holding cells, then? What'd you make of the criminal? He got himself a fresh supply of fish and chips.
He's refilled the bucket.
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
Damn, now I kind of want fish and chips.
Alright. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. It doesn't bother me. The bloke's in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict's a foregone conclusion.
Ugh, stone cold error rejection.
Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
That makes it worse somehow.
Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes? I've been fascinated by the place.
Brain just autofills.
The Yard is the most sophisticated policing organization you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
The Holmes estate sends a copyright strike in letter form to Renu personally.
No! Sorry guys, it's all my fault. Being a London Bobby is all going, I can tell you.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and rouses all the laborers on his beat so they can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yup. Raps on their windows with a long pole. Did it myself, going back a bit.
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of the town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's the regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
Jesus.
Oh!
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all the gas street lamps.
You mean it's England's fault that the police do everything?
Wake everybody up, light up all the street lights.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all of those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
Get the waking stick. I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly, more alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Carry on my dream. Oh, I don't want it! Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do.
It happened at around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there, on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's your policy to give lawyers, defendant, suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
Nah.
Anyway, as far as we know, there was no one else on the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around, but
But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less. Here we go.
Oh, yep, get into it.
Ah!
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see them.
There are witnesses now?
Ooh.
Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife. And the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London.
I feel like we said the same thing about Mr. McGilded.
He's a copper from Scotland Yard. Oh, well,
Oh,
this
he's
gets
a
a little
cop?
complicated.
A policeman? He's guilty!
Uh-huh.
That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, ma'am. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh, yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect, I hear that was Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The color has drained from his cheeks.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings.
I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes's inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle!
Ah!
The man's an amateur, and I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
Oh.
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
Yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
You're crushing your chips, sir.
So are your chips.
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gobble!
Oh!
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Ranced Magazine.
The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlock Sholmes appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlock Sholmes tale at all. You sounded a little different than earlier, sir.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. The man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
You were not this aggressive this morning.
Clearly, the great detective and the police have a complex relationship.
You were over here this morning like, he made me famous. And now he's like, rah, 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 rah. That twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me, but I will just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
The Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years. Sorry, I gotta go get Clover. She's working up a storm.
Okay. While Renu does that, I guess I'll hit the break screen and be right back. We'll just take this moment to take a little impromptu break. Oh, did you just get back? No. Okay.
Oh? Oh, BBRB. Hello, chat. How are we? Go get yourself a drink or a snack. you would like, since we are currently BRB. In the BRB status. This Clover was barking at the neighbor's dogs who, they weren't there when my roommate let her outside or in the backyard, but apparently at some point they were let out while she was out there, and so she got very upset. Yeah, she does not like the neighbor's dogs because they're always barking at her, and so then she feels inclined to bark back. Because she feels threatened.
Hello, I'm back. I think it's more.
Welcome back.
Okay, shall I continue?
Osh.
Wash.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
Just had your last true waffle. That is a tragedy.
Oh. And the only people he usually bothers with are the real scum. The master criminals. The violent ones.
Master criminals. Jesus.
The violent ones?
Natsume Sosaki, master criminal.
That's right. He handpicks his victims. Only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, Sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
His vampire teeth. No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness?
Lord of Darkness.
You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really going to have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness. As he put it. Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective.
Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yes, what is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
The one,
By
the only.
him. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Exactly.
Oh, look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you?
She might have agenda.
Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He really did.
That's why we have to go see him.
Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again.
The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address even.
It's Baker Street.
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course.
Mr. Sholmes doxed himself.
221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable.
Hoorah! I'll summon a carriage.
So, we're to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Ooh woo. What a delightful snowman.
I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy, though.
Oh, it has a scarf, look.
You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one.
I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment, too. We certainly can't afford a scarf.
Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his.
But the person who made the snowman certainly would.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, wait, how did you... And if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. I like how Ryunosuke's case just come to terms with the fact that everyone can read his mind.
Oh, that's a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals.
You're very well informed, aren't you?
It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London.
Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then.
But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it. Wouldn't it?
I mean, yes.
Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone.
No, I wasn't serious. She was ready. She was ready. It's like, oh, bet?
She's a woman who wants to make her dreams come true.
That's one of the officers. You're right. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wandered too close, we'd clapped in irons.
Clapped.
Clapped!
I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern.
Oh no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough.
Twice.
Twice I found myself in handcuffs, despite not knowing a thing about what was going on.
Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all.
Bro, what happened to this
Oh my
bike?
god, bro.
Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore.
Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling.
It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that.
Goodness, do you dislike bicycles?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems reckless. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me.
We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around.
Oh, kawaii.
Wow. She's just like, fine, coward, I'll do it. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks. Ryunosuke's resting guilty face, you're right. Him and Phoenix both have it.
It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow.
I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead.
Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed in all in black. A worried coachman might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses.
Oh.
A resting guilty face.
Ow.
Nice one. Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Oh, look at the windows of that building there.
Are you sure they're windows?
Yeah, but they're all filled in with bricks.
Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where no one lives at the moment.
There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though.
Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place.
Susanna's like, what the fuck is wrong with this place? This place is so fucked.
That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here.
We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible.
Yeah, like look at this like bending beam. This house is yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Do you see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there? That can't be good for you.
It says that here in Great Britain, many people heat their homes in winter using coal.
Oh, they haven't come to regret that yet.
Ah,
The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. Do you think some of those houses could be on fire?
not at all.
Well, even so, that much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole sky black sooner or later.
Gosh, you may be right about that.
A new location.
Oh!
Anime!
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day.
Good day.
Thanks
Good
again.
day.
This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock's Showers.
God, would it be a crime to turn on the Japanese voices?
I don't think so. It looks cute on the outside. And then a hot mess on the inside.
February 12:53 p.m. Sholmes' Suite. So, this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow.
Did we just walk right in?
Let's see. Let's see. Is there a way to turn on the Japanese voices? Let's just pop a save here. And go to the main menu. Okay, we'll drop another save just in case. Okay. Cute.
That is cute.
Hey, these are the same options. Language? Oh, voice language. Here we go. Yeah, that's it.
And now all the British people are gonna be Japanese too.
Yeah. Holy shit, this place is a mess.
Whoa.
Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Bro, she's gonna fucking lose it.
Don't talk to her right now. She's very emotional.
Susato-san?
Oh.
Many,
She's fangirling.
many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so I don't get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it! The romanticism! Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can, yes?
So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me.
She's obsessed. Well, guess we're on our own. Looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? We just walked into this man's house.
We legitimately just walked in.
Breaking and entering. Oh, do we have a visitor?
Oh!
Hello? Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes? Hello? Wait. Aren't you... Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once. I'm sure it's the same girl. Mr. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh, yes. Isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The King of Bowaria?
King Wilhelm... Gottsrich Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there. The tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well.
Ah, it's you.
I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too. Ah, there you are. And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilded's trial in the defendant's antechamber. I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London. I often wonder if I should have been born in another time. My senses are unusually, well, one could even say unnaturally keen. And ours is an era of distraction. It's a punishing drumbeat of constant input. This cacophony which follows us into our homes and into our beds and seeps into our souls, for want of a better word. For a long time, there was only one poultice for my raw nerve endings, and that was copious drug use. So in my less productive moments, I'm given to wonder.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yep, and you do a couple hydrates.
Yeah.
Couple hydratos. I just have to remember to clear these so that they don't get backed up.
Happy lawyering, thank you.
Thank you. We'll lawyer.
We will lawyer.
Oh, yes, it was challenging. Thanks for swinging by. Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know. Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh.
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor.
Hooray! It's okay. Renu, can you do this character? I can't get my voice high enough.
Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck. Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
So,
It's really bad.
Early. Mr. Sholmes to you, Shirley.
Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he's just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did produce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite? Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley.
Oh, Iris, is it? Oh, what a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan. She's
She is the Watson analog.
Yep. Wato-san.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo.
What? Wait, what? Where did Runo? Wait.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Got it. Susie?
And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, and I don't know where to start.
Yes. And so do I.
It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey?
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though, at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this?
Ugh.
Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade in tow, didn't you?
Oh, yes. That awkward witness, Gina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
Jesus, this girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she could apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, your technician?
Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Herlock. Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea that the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I? Oh, well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
I like how they're just like in millennials. They're like, we cannot afford an apartment alone. Your roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you?
Boy, isn't that the question?
10 at last this year.
Oh dear.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course, of course. Go ahead, Susie. I am a very great fan of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes and... Oh! You have a copy of Rand's magazine! Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting! My stories are being read on the other side of the world!
My stories.
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard of them, don't you think? Goodness! Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship, traveling from a faraway land.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you are the author? Yes! I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm going to call this latest adventure The Speckled Band.
Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories, here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but... It's a story! Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you?
I thought it was pretty thrilling on its own, but you know.
So, do you mean to say... Are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in the Rance magazine all written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Susato-san's getting more and more worked up.
Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson.
But I'm like 10.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
She is being crushed as we speak.
That's all true too. I am a doctor of medicine.
Oh.
No, I'm 10 years old?
At 10 years old. Look at
Wow,
me.
that's quite incredible.
But Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the settings slightly for the stories to be more compelling.
How is it more compelling to not have a 10-year-old girl be the one doing all this?
You don't get homoerotic
Oh.
tension.
You're right.
Well, it does sound a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow.
That's true. That would raise some questions.
We are questioning things a lot right now.
I suppose it does.
I have to
yes.
write it that way, or else Mr. Sherlock Holmes goes to jail. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart. She'd have to explain the steampunk. Yeah, that's true. About before.
Yes, yes. What's on your mind, Renu? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean?
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although, there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin.
Oh?
Oh?
Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
What?
First of all, I already knew that you were a lawyer, Renu. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
So it wasn't particularly difficult.
All right.
Oh.
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey. I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with a suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah. They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates.
Wow. This is why her like sometimes makes correct deductions.
So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face. So I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see. Yeah, so basically, Herlock Sholmes is just a puppet being controlled by a 10-year-old.
We're all puppets. This child.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, come
Don't
on.
laugh at him like that.
A Japanese man. Well, clearly that must have been.
Mr. Natsume.
Look at this.
My man's life is about to be over.
Now, Renu has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know. He is silly.
This poor wall. Look at it just hanging up there.
That's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
Renu's just like, hey. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed the certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that.
Are you sure you weren't the one who taught him?
No, I think he had the style. It's just that he's slowly learning reasoning.
Oh, you're right.
This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please.
The case of the Japanese man. So, yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after his sea voyage. But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to a crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently, a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man.
Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Sasaki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great deductive powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room, very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man, shivering in fear.
Poor Mr. Celsi. Mr. Sholm's great deductions certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
Cosmo vibrating from beyond the grave.
Is it the world's greatest justice system if you just accuse and convict the first suspicious person?
I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Sasaki-san. The world's greatest justice system. So good at getting guilty verdicts.
Cosmo screams.
Cosmo screams from beyond the grave like, ah! Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Ah, well... I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume? Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Oh, yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody! In that case... Give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
Iris's postcard entered into the court record.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem."
Is she bribing him?
Wow. Listen, he's gotta feed his fish and chips habit somehow.
Ah, right.
Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, It's back to the scene of the crime.
So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all, we headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued.
Whoa.
All right. Well, why don't we take a little break there? Good time for a break, and then we'll get back to investigation part 2, huh?
Ah!
All right. I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah. Ba, 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 ba. Do 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 do.
Thank you for singing along with me, chat. Insert sick bass drop here, yes. Boom, 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 boom. People expect an actual like the electric bass, you know. But then it's just it's the classical bass instrument. Oh, Walnut, is that you? Mr. Momo. Yeah. Yeah. Come here. You can complain at me from over there. You won't come over. Come on. Oh, he's walking away. I was gonna pet him, but he just decided he was gonna yell at me and run away. Walnut. He went to my roommate's room to complain. Walnut. He's gone. Sometimes a man just has to come in and meow loudly at you and leave. Kitty. Yeah, kitty. Kitty bitty. Kitty bobitty. You could hear? Didn't even hear Clover earlier. Yeah, I could hear her like outside, because that's where she was barking. But I would have been surprised if you could hear it on the mic. But Walnut was inside my room, so making himself known. Oh, he's trying to cuddle with Clover. I can hear. Welcome back.
I made myself some honey tea for my throat. And then I promised I would drink the rest of the Midori, so I poured myself some Midori.
What's Midori?
It's like a Japanese melon liqueur. It's bright green if you've never seen it.
Oh, well, the name is fitting then.
Yeah. It's pretty good, actually. Like, honestly, I just mixed it with some tonic water and a squeeze of lime, and actually kind of works. My drink is like this bright neon green, though. Bright green booze. It literally looks like a slime potion.
Just drinking food coloring at that point, right?
Like, straight up, that's what it looks like. Probably what it is, to be honest. Like this, nothing in nature is this color.
I know.
This is the color of like toxic waste.
I'm gonna put it straight in my body.
Like, like a green apple Jolly Rancher, it's that color.
Whoa.
Yeah, Midori's fun. I would love to play around with some Midori drinks. Midori and Cheetos. That sounds like a good night. Sounds like a good time. All right, let's get on with it. 19th February, 2:38 p.m. Briar Road. Looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation.
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
By the way, kids, if you're trying to soothe your throat, you shouldn't have alcohol. And yet. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Hello, sir. We have a bribe for you. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship?
Her ladyship?
Give that here, at once! Come on, hand it over. That's for me!
Ow! Don't wait for me to give it to you, will ya? What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously. But it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee. That's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right. For the adventures of Herlock Sholmes.
He's getting royalties.
Wow. The ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
No wonder he doesn't seem so objection towards the stories themselves.
I see. Okay, so he hates Herlock, but he likes the stories, so that's why he had such a different attitude.
Yes. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course. Her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still.
Yeah. I am sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever you want to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. So go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, little knife-wielding mustached Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there, look.
Oh, he lives in the fucking...
On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up.
This poor man.
That is nearby indeed.
Bro, he was just in his house.
I know, right? If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garridib. Right, well. If you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear?
So it's actually really funny because so what my roommates do every time we stream on Saturday specifically is they'll put the stream up on the TV. And so whenever I go into the kitchen, I can hear the stream going from the living room, which is very funny. But it seems like most of them are asleep right now. Anyway.
I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector. We will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left.
Yes. So then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Let's go! February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Oh.
May I help you?
Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who, may I say, is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Nososeki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here? We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb.
Did you see that, Miss Susato? That was a real-life English maid!
I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete.
Imagine going to a cafe with maids. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way.
Wasn't a maid one of the jury members? Yeah, in The Last Child.
Yeah.
Holy
They've
shit,
apparently
look at this
forgotten her.
guy.
Whoa, he is sharp.
He's shaped like the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like a Medal of Honor. And it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not straight. It's Mac at night. Literally, that's what the first thing I thought of.
What's that old thing?
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general will turn in his grave if I dispose of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the belly thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose.
There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look.
Wow, Ryunosuke. Gotta be so homophobic, huh?
Let me see. It says, for distinguished participation.
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for.
Oh my god.
Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army.
Bro. Brother. Don't do that.
Yeah. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles.
Ew. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? Yeah, speaking of, where exactly did you serve in the military?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
Unless it's a Brypia.
That old thing? Not much better than rags, really.
Oh?
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, doesn't hurt to have the old piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
Oh, I see.
This guy has a fucking cannon in his house. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. It's a full-sized cannon! What's it doing in here?
Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing, bah, that's little more than a toy.
Sorry? Shell runs on the mantle. This guy's ready to go to war.
The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never knew when the enemy might attack next. Only useful to have a cannon about the house.
Sorry. Is it? Who was the enemy in the war you were fighting? Were you colonizing India?
Oh.
Really? It isn't overkill?
Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, my boy.
Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb?
Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. Dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me. Which rather proves my point, I think.
It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame.
Aww.
I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading?
Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book.
Oh, there's a copy of Ranst magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, too.
The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Surely. Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from you. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Ahem. Ahem.
Maybe let's not, Mrs. Seto. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. That portrait of Mr. Garrideb is glaring at me, I swear.
Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrideb as well?
Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well.
Ah, you seem to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seem to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. I intended to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
The lion ornament certainly does seem to surplus requirements.
Susato-san doesn't pull her punches, or her throws for that matter. Are those mortar shells? They're enormous.
Ah, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here?
Ah, those old things. Couple of little rounds I accidentally fired into the barracks during training, you know? Became a bit of colorful regiment folklore, that incident.
You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells?
Well, I wouldn't say deliberately exactly. They're only scrap iron after all, usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when things might come in useful, do you?
Useful for what exactly?
Yes, well. Joan here did manage to knock one of the bally things on my foot the other day while she was dusting.
Oh no!
Hadn't shed a tear since 1869 before then, you know.
Maybe reconsider throwing them away. Maybe a good idea, my guy. Whoa.
Oh.
Oh, look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my! A genuine London dresser! Isn't it delightful? Although the shelves seem to be broken, and the crockery is... Oh dear! It's in pieces!
It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do Chinaware justice.
Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it. Oh,
Yes, probably something like that, but let's not delve too deeply here.
I think that would do a lot more damage than that.
Maybe.
Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up. Looks more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea.
That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally. And it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. Doing a real service.
This window looks out over Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked.
Oh, yes. I can make it the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene.
The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly.
Does this thing open at all? I wonder.
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you.
It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then.
Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? No medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
I'll have a job getting me up and down the stairs now. I can tell you, don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so? The Battle of Maiwand on the 27th of July, 1880 was one of the principal battles of the Second Anglo-Afghan War.
Oh.
My man served in Afghanistan.
Oh. Oh, I mean, that makes sense because Watson's character came back from Afghanistan at the start of Sherlock Holmes, and since this is when that takes place.
You would be correct, yes. That does make sense.
Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a fodderall, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though. I originally displayed it on the wall.
Why don't you fetch it down, John? Let these good people see it properly.
John, fetch the. Oh! Dash
no.
it! Oh, woman!
No.
Be careful!
Holy
Oh,
shit.
dearie me. I do beg your pardon, sir.
How is this man not dead?
Holy cow.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands!
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes. I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
pleased, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. They forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
We've had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
This maid is trying to kill this man.
Could have been. Don't catch the job's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rant's magazine here, so...
Huh? Oh, no,
Oh? Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Sasaki-san's room.
It's a bally nuisance is what it is. All neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garudeb. Please do tell us.
Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then.
I have two lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. Ah! Dash it all, John, do be careful!
Every time she lifts that teapot, I fear for him. Oh, my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him.
Oh? Why?
He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness. That's
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all?
Yes. Oh, yes, indeed there was.
and she's dying to tell us. Have you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchard.
Oh my god.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call.
He doesn't have friends.
He just trots off to that old bookshop every day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Huh.
Can you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh!
I'd understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct?
That's right, yes. They're both below us on the first floor and say street level.
Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed.
Uh-oh.
Good grief, John, be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir. I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Huh. Something doesn't add up here. Alright, before we click this next option, I have to pee. I've consumed so much liquid. Okay, hello.
It.
It seems that the incident took place around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time?
The window?
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Is there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrett household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that tower. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well,
Yes? Was there something there then?
it's nothing particularly significant, but in around that sort of time it did.
Oh, God, Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, dearie me. What have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman!
How many times this man gets scolded every day?
The floor is just soaked with tea right now.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow.
Oh.
That was horrible.
Yes?
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Gardeb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just
Oh,
a
no!
trifling matter. Nothing.
Oh, Joan Dashiell, what is the matter with you, woman?
Dude, this maid murdered somebody. Straight up.
Begging your pardon, sir? Nothing happened.
Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Garrett.
Bro, what the fuck? What is the matter with these two? You can tell how good
It
her
sounds
memory
like something
is.
happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what?
But what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Why, certainly, just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak?
Yes, told me that's his name, had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services?
That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around in Mr. Natsume's room, I mean?
Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we?
Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
To Mr. Natsume's room.
Ew.
Woo!
Yeah, this seems about right.
19th February, Mr. Natsume's room.
What?
Meow meow.
Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountain of old books that are responsible for that, and the fact that there's no window.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what the fuck?
I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life.
No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too.
Is that the window over there?
Well, it was the window, I think. Yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So, this is where Mr. Natsume lives.
By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you?
Oh dear, where are we gonna find him?
No, that's true. But according to what Mr. Garrett told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating.
Hmm?
He could be anywhere.
Oh, look! It's a beckoning cat from home.
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that maneki neck all the way from Japan with him.
I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting that enormous Dharma doll that you brought in your luggage?
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm.
A big one.
Big.
Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him.
It's not doing a very good job so far, is it?
Oh.
You mustn't say such things.
I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway?
Ah.
Cat!
Wow.
Kitty!
Meow meow meow.
Oh, look at it!
Oh,
Oh, there he goes.
oh my! What an adorable little cat! Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master's away.
I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mike, was it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain?
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That's made me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days.
We've been out of Japan forever.
I know.
That desk seems to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side.
I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. Cute! But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well.
Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? a receipt from a secondhand bookshop. Your books.
Oh, yes. Mr. Natsume's name is on it. And look, the date of purchase. Huh. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident.
That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books.
Book receipt. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature. And they all smell so musty.
With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
No. Oh, what a dreamy idea.
A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us.
I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. It's because someone here has culture, Mr. Naruhodo. Did you even call this a window?
I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now.
So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? But then, why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that?
I'm afraid I have no idea. Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on in a fit of whimsy.
Ugh, that's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation here makes the place very oppressive.
It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying.
What? How does he do that?
Look, Mr. Naruhodo!
Aha! There he is! Where did he appear from?
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello? Mr. Sholmes?
Ah, you two! Good day.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
Now, let me see.
Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Buria.
Yes, of course! The Buria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage?
It was Kazuma Asogi. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us.
Ah, yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh,
Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least.
what an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes.
That's it. That's the line. That's the best line.
This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam. Hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato.
I mean, honestly, that could have been much worse.
It really could have.
He got the names right.
You got the names right.
Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes.
I lose the first round.
Some people can't even pronounce our names 10 seconds after we tell them.
Mr. Narrow Hollow.
Mr. Narrow Hollow.
In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes.
So, they apprehended Soseki-san in that short an amount of time?
I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little.
A little?
It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure called A Study in Scarlet.
Please, there's no need to quote yourself.
I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully.
Means Iris, I suppose.
Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned.
Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should only be too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case.
He only remembers this story versus the cases. Absolutely. He only knows what's relevant to him. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road.
Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along these lines.
But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What?
I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance.
I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance.
Ah, Jesus!
It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension.
Oh? How?
I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. What?
But that doesn't make sense.
The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene.
Oh, a man seen fleeing.
There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. Oh. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question.
So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then?
That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here.
Good guy, Herlock.
Well. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no!
Oh dear.
Tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings?
Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services.
And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. I didn't think it was that that funny.
I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein.
Betoken of social standing? Sorry?
Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes. Being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance.
I had no idea. This explains some things.
Yeah, right. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb.
Oh?
Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as of yet unable to ascertain.
I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say.
This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Schultz. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea?
No window?
Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks.
Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax.
Bro, there's a window tax?
What?
Window tax? What is that?
Surely, not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness!
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Oh! Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. Wow.
Sounds vaguely familiar, you can't remember why.
Yeah.
What
You know-
a fucking wow, okay.
It does sound familiar to me too. That's crazy. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Leave it to England.
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished.
This is actually
What a-
real. I bet it's real. It sounds actually
Yeah,
like
it sounds-
it
yes.
sounds ridiculous
It's definitely
enough.
real.
Yeah,
Yes.
it sounds ridiculous enough that like Great Britain would actually have done this shit. They're like, how should we tax people? I think by the number of their windows, don't you think?
Never mind the
what if-
suffering of the poor.
But what if they closed up all their windows? Well, then they didn't
Yeah.
want them very much, now did they? What ho, let us continue on.
But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example.
I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. Relatable.
It would appear so. I've done a little digging and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. I mean, yeah, the one window is boarded up, bricked up, rather.
Yeah, this is a place people go to die.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago.
It took him 1 week to gather all these books?
Holy fuck.
Cow! Yes, that's correct. However, for that long? Holy cow! No way!
It took 155 years for them to realize, wait, this sucks. This is dumb.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, Great Britain.
What?
Of course, that was the reason. Wow. Oh my god.
Therefore, window text.
I have to, like, it's just one of those things that, like, in history, you just have to wonder who was just like, I've got it! By Jove, it's the number of windows! Oh?
Still, that is of little relevance here, a matter not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure? I'm curious now.
Well, I believe I've told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruto. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law?
You remember that, did you?
Oh, look at that! You remembered it.
By Jove, it's the number of windows as a Discord status if you remember again. Yeah. That one's free, you can have it.
Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Holmes, you're kind of on point today.
Yeah, you kind of balling today, my guy.
Not sure? On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too.
The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients, to trust in their innocence? I mean...
Yes. Trust.
Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he?
My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea.
I don't fucking know, man. Oh, but... I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Garrett is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he?
Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
It's quite a lot, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Naruhodo. As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret.
Woo. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, Mr. Sholmes, you were very lovely this time.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room.
He's just gonna read everything in here.
Right? Okay. Well, I am very tired and my voice is very tired, so let's end a little early today. Boo-doo-boo-doo-boo-doo-boo-boo-boo-boo. Thanks for coming to the stream, everybody. You know where to find us next week, same time, probably. Are you good for next week?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Did I miss anything? I've been reading about window taxes. Not really.
You missed nothing. Nothing of value.
We were just praising Mr. Sholmes for being so nice, and then that was about it.
Yep. Thanks for coming to stream. I'm gonna go eat a snack and take a shower and stuff. Goodbye.
Yay, bye-bye, good night.